On this episode of the Who Is This podcast, we had the pleasure of speaking with Dan and Russ Jones. Dan and Russ are brothers, and they are both coaches for the Thatcher High School football team. Dan has been the head coach for the past 4 seasons. He took the head coaching job during the middle of COVID, and we talk about some of the challenges that presented. Russ has been coaching for Thatcher for many years and is currently the offensive coordinator. They both absolutely love what they do. We had a great time talking with Dan and Russ, and we are excited to see what the team is able to do this year.
It's just me and my friends, me and my friends, me and my friends. I'm loving our day in LA. You don't get so excited when we see
The only time I ever was even semi-consistent at journaling was on my mission, and didn't stick. I don't do it. Yeah. So I haven't literally didn't write in it before, and I haven't written in it since. So
we just dropped our son off
last week, last Wednesday.
Okay,
a week ago.
Awesome. So
this was in the MTC right now.
Okay, so we're this is the Who Is This podcast. That's usually what I say, so the Courtney knows where to start advertising it. But yeah, so where's your son talking, or where's your son?
He got called to the Ogden, Utah mission, Portuguese speaking.
Oh wow, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
So learn a new language, but not have to have that culture shock as much.
Yeah, he was not super thrilled about the getting called and being so close to home, because our daughter went to Utah State, so I mean he's already been there.
Yeah,
he wanted to see someplace new, but then the Portuguese was kind of cool, and
yeah.
But I think he's kind of coming around to it. So
a joke that I always grew up hearing. This is not my beliefs, but it's funny. Is the best part about getting called to serve in Utah is you don't have Utah companions. I love Utah. Yeah. So cool. So how long ago did you drop him off?
A week ago.
Just
tomorrow.
A week ago.
Yeah, a week ago tomorrow.
Awesome.
So we got to talk to him for the first time on Monday.
Yeah.
That was kind of fun.
That's awesome. So how many kids do you have?
I have 5.
Where does he fall?
He's the 3rd. So I have 2 at home still. I have a junior on the team.
Okay.
And then I have a daughter that's in
8th grade.
8th grade. Yeah.
The same way.
We have. Yeah. They look very similar.
Gotcha.
Both look like twins. So.
And then 2 have already graduated.
Yep, graduated and married.
Okay. Oh wow. Any grandkids yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
Still waiting.
Awesome. I always hear that grandkids are the best because you get to love them, but then you can send them away.
Yeah.
So.
Well, he knows. He's a grandpa. So.
You're a grandpa?
Can you believe it?
Oh my gosh, dude. Hey.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanks,
That's awesome. Yeah.
Thanks.
You're a good looking grandpa.
Thanks.
Yeah. How old's your grandboy, son?
Granddaughter.
Okay.
So my oldest boy, Brock,
yeah,
married Maisie Hunt from here in the Gila Valley.
Okay.
And so they have a little baby girl, Ruby, and she's 10 months old.
Okay.
And she's all kinds of fun.
Yeah.
She's all kinds of fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How many kids do you have? Because Brock is your oldest.
He's my oldest.
Okay.
I've got 6. So I have Brock, my oldest, he's graduated. Rachel's graduated. She just started the radiology, they call it Rad Tech program.
Where at?
KVA. Yeah, she was in Flagstaff all summer working, and then she just moved back. Then I've got Cody. He's on his mission in Mexico, Puebla, Mexico.
Okay.
He's about a year out. He had to come home. I don't know. I have no idea why, but here in the Gila Valley, we've had like a bunch of people that have had cysts on their tailbone.
Really?
I can think of, 5 or 6 people in the Gila Valley that have had that same thing where they had to come home and deal with a cyst on their tailbone. So he came home at like 7 months or 8 months or whatever, and had to get surgery to get it removed.
Wow.
And he was home for about 3 months. It was
how long ago was that?
He came home in March.
Okay.
And then he went back about 6 weeks ago.
Man, that would be hard. Both for him and as a parent. I mean, you got to send him away twice.
Yeah, and being home for so long, like 3 months.
Yeah.
Like he's totally reacclimated. And so
did they release him? And then
he was on pause basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Jeez, that would be hard.
They changed his call. So
Okay.
he became a member of the Tucson mission as a service missionary.
Okay.
And then
Same
he went
rules
back-
applied.
No, service missionary rules are a little bit different.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a little different. But the poor guy, he couldn't sit down. He couldn't sit down or lay on his back for 6 weeks or 8 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
He was laying down on his side. It was crazy.
Are they? So you said there's like 6. Are they around the same age? Like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, within 6 or 8 years of each other.
Yeah. Yeah. So same.
I mean, I'm talking just from Thatcher High School that I'm aware of.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
There needs to be. Someone needs to look into that.
Yeah. But
That's
they used
so
to. It's not a new thing. They used to, like in World War II. They call it the Jeep driver's disease.
Mhm.
From like the Jeep driver used to get it from like the constant rubbing on the seat or something.
Was he riding a bike on his mission?
No, nothing. And I think that it probably started before he went on his mission, and then just got aggravated.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good for him for going back out. I
Yeah.
mean, I'll be honest. If it was, I served for 6 months and had to come home for medical reasons. I didn't go back out.
Was that right?
Yeah. I considered that my mission. I was like, that's enough, and it was a great experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, I served a 6-month mission.
Hey, and that's cool.
Yeah. So that's good for him for having that desire and the ability to do that.
Yeah. Wow.
Was it hard on your wife?
No, we were good. He knew that there were some developmental things that he was going through that he knew that he wasn't finished,
Mm-hmm.
like developing as a person.
Yeah.
Obviously he's not going to be finished when he's done with his mission, but like,
It helps.
yeah, it's a condensed version of growth on your mission that's kind of unique. So yeah, we were good. He needed to go back.
That's awesome.
I mean, we obviously miss him like crazy. Love him.
Right. Yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah. And again, he had to reacclimate. He just went to a new area. The mission split into, well, there was a north and a south, and then they created an east while he was gone.
Mm-hmm.
And so when he got back, there were no missionaries in the area that he went to because one of the missionaries went home and the other missionary went to the other mission. So he returned to an area that there was nobody experienced. So he's training. Anyways, we found this out right before we went back, and got to put your game face on. I mean, it's going to be hard. You have to readjust, but.
That's the point. When I was out, I served in Mexico as well, so I was
Okay.
Spanish speaking. And basically, right when I came home is when I was starting to get comfortable with the language.
Right, that's right.
So he probably had to relearn. I mean, at least refresh himself. Coming
Yeah.
out of it. I'm assuming it's a Spanish speaking
Sure.
mission.
Yeah, the same thing. He's a year out. And he doesn't feel like he's at the same level
Mhm.
of the missionaries that have been a year out.
Yeah.
But he's doing good. He's pretty hard on himself that way.
Yeah.
And you're doing good.
Yeah.
So,
Well, good. That's awesome that he went back out.
so then I have 3 younger. I've got a boy, Brett, that's a senior.
Okay.
And he's doing great. He's playing football. He's doing great.
Going to be one of the best players out of 3A this year.
I remember hearing,
Quite
didn't
impressive.
he, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, he stepped up and had to play quarterback in the playoffs, right? Was that last year or
Yeah,
sophomore
all
year?
year.
That was 2 years
yeah.
ago.
So sophomore year he kind of filled, and then he was a quarterback all last year.
So he was our middle linebacker his sophomore year.
Okay.
And then Brandon got hurt in our first playoff game, and he had to step in, or our second playoff.
Brandon Napier.
Yeah, Brandon.
Yeah,
Napier.
who was the quarterback at the time, yeah.
He did a good job.
Mm-hmm.
He was an emotional wreck, as I think as most kids would be, but he did a good job.
Yeah.
He did a good job. And then last year he played quarterback for us. And this year, last year during basketball and during track, he threw the javelin. He's messed up his right shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
So he's playing tight end. He's not playing.
Oh, okay.
But he's been our middle linebacker, sophomore, junior, and then this year.
Okay.
He's done a good job there.
Gotcha. There's Davis, just heard the doorbell.
doorbell.
So Davis is, if you ever go back and watch one of the other episodes, this is his thing. He likes to show up a little fashionably late. We'll be ready to. We'll like start and be like, hey, I gotta take this call real quick.
It's kind of
Crap,
my
not
thing
right
too, and
Yeah.
he's barking at me, hey,
Yeah.
they
Make sure those are
don't be late.
They're both recording.
Recording, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Guys, how are you?
Hey,
Sorry
how's it
I'm
going?
late.
Hey, man.
How are you?
Good.
So, So yeah, Davis, this is Russ and Daniel Jones. Do you go by Daniel or Dan?
Dan.
Or Dan?
Dan.
Okay. Russ and Dan Jones, brothers, Thatcher football coaches. And we've just been talking about their families a little bit. But I wanted to ask you guys, okay, so first of all, which one of you is older?
I am.
Okay.
You have to ask that.
Hey, it would be unfair for him. It'd be unfair for him to assume.
Clearly,
Dude, you're the one with the grandkid.
clearly superior.
So
Okay.
yeah.
No, clearly elder.
Yeah. So I'm not. I mean, I don't care. I don't know if you guys care or not. I won't ask your age, but what's the age gap between the two of you?
5 years.
5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So didn't go to high
He's an
school
old
together.
No.
Okay.
No. I paved the way for him.
You
Yeah.
did. Everyone
totally.
knew what they were getting
100%,
when you
yeah.
came up. Okay. And so where are you guys from? Where'd you grow up?
We grew up in Pine Top. So
Okay.
we both played at Blue Ridge High School
Okay.
under legendary Paul Morrill.
Yeah.
So he's a national coach of the year type thing, and
Yeah.
won tons of championships.
They went on a run.
Yeah.
It was that.
He started that run.
Okay. So I have a cousin named Josh Clough. Do you know who that is?
Is that a show?
I think he played with Blue Ridge too, but I
Okay.
think that I think his senior year is when the run ended.
Oh, no.
I think.
Yeah.
I could
Yeah.
be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure. I think he was the tail end of that
Yeah.
run. So
Well, tell me about the run. What are the details on that? So
6 years undefeated.
I think
In
it
a
was,
row?
it was either 4. I don't think
I think it was 6.
Oh.
It was a lot.
Yeah,
It was a lot.
4 is solid too. Yeah, regardless of which one. Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Not
just
good.
undefeated state champions.
I think it grows more,
Yeah.
more,
It's like
but
10
yeah.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5 years.
But it was a lot of years in a row. So
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
quite
Not a
impressive.
single loss.
Not a single
Yeah.
loss.
Wow.
amazing. Yeah.
So,
And that was their 3A.
Yeah.
So back in the day, in the mid '90s, the 3A East, that was like Snowflake, Sholo. That was the 3A East dominated the 3A conference for like decades.
Were private schools as big of a thing back then?
they were actually in 2A.
Yeah, most of them.
Oh,
Because
okay.
they went strictly by enrollment and they were
Gotcha.
smaller,
Yeah.
so they were in 2A back then.
Gotcha. Okay.
So during those years, Thatcher was fighting like Phoenix Christian. I can't recall it.
Valley Christian.
Yeah, Valley Christian. And then some of those years, St. John's was also really good during some of those years. Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, Thatcher was battling those Christian schools.
So, have you? Obviously, that was a really good program that you
Yeah.
both went through. Have you adopted any of those? Because Thatcher's got a good program too, historically. But I'm just curious. Have you integrated anything that you learned playing yourselves into what you're doing now?
Yeah. So I moved here in 2011, and so I was a teacher and a coach. I coached football, basketball, girls basketball,
Mhm.
which I loved, and baseball. So I've been coaching Thatcher football for a lot of years, and I obviously when I got here, it was Don Conrad, Danny Batra, Ramon Morales, Adam Estrada. They were clearly established.
Who had been coaching for years?
And they were
yeah.
they're phenomenal. They're really good. So I learned a lot from them. But yeah, I did. I have my own flavor of how the way I teach and the way I motivate,
Mhm.
and a lot of that comes from Blue Ridge and
Mhm.
Coach Morrill and some of the traditions that we had then.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And so, what do you coach specifically? Because you're the head coach,
Yes.
correct? Yeah.
So I've kind of gone through the gamut over the years, but right now I'm the quarterbacks coach. I help. Michael Romney's the linebacker coach, but I help with linebackers, and I'm the offensive coordinator.
Okay. Awesome.
So sometimes I think I'm not a great offensive coordinator. I'm ready to turn it over.
The Thatcher is pretty notorious for running a specific set of plays. You guys still kind of running that tradition, or
We have that tradition, right?
Mhm.
So it's been the veer.
Yeah.
The split back
Yeah.
veer. Triple option, or it's not really triple option, but it's a split back veer. And it's been super successful. Split back veer, power. We definitely have that. But what we've noticed is with the emergence of these private schools and their ability to somehow gather, elite or a higher number than we can gather of good athletes,
Mhm.
they throw. and they're able to throw effectively.
Mm-hmm.
And if we want to win, we've got to be able to score faster.
Mm-hmm.
So Thatcher football is mostly just pound, control the clock, and then just control the game that way.
Yeah, Thatcher's never been known for throwing the ball very much.
Yeah,
It's funny you say that, but
But
if you look at last year,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of our wins and big plays they were passes. So
Yeah.
we're trying to move more in that direction. Sometimes you have a kid that can throw the ball fantastic, and sometimes you're stuck with what you got. So
Well, and it's important to be able to do more than one thing, obviously.
Yeah.
So that's good. So you mentioned your son Brett. He's playing tight end now. So who's the quarterback this year? Are you guys still in that process?
we're still.
If you're not comfortable talking about that, I understand. Trust me, I get
We
that.
can release this episode at the end of the
Yeah.
season.
No, we have two competing for it. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Chad Johnson and Paxton Eccles,
Okay.
and it's very close.
Yeah.
And so
Chad Johnson sounds like a receiver though.
yeah, we call
Ocho
him
Cinco.
Ocho Cinco all the time.
That's funny, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm guessing 'cause small schools, whichever one doesn't play quarterback is probably going to be playing another position. Is that
For sure, they are both very good athletes and
Mhm.
can be used
in other places?
in other places for sure.
That's interesting that Michael Romney came on. He talked about how his senior year, his junior year, he was the quarterback, but then his senior year, it just was better for the team. Put him at running back, and then Mark Palmer, who works with Chad Johnson's dad.
Yeah.
Right.
I believe his son's a freshman.
Oh,
Yeah. And,
Oh, that's who I was thinking it was.
Hmm.
Chad. So that's not that Chad Johnson. Yeah. So Chad Johnson, is he a senior?
He's a junior.
I'm thinking of a different. I'm thinking of Mark Johnson's son. He's not a junior yet.
No, Mark Johnson.
Yeah.
His son is Chad.
His son is Chad.
Oh.
And he's a junior.
He's a junior.
yeah, Palmer is Case Palmer.
Gotcha.
He's the freshman.
freshman.
Yeah, he's the freshman.
Gotcha. Okay, so I was thinking right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's going to be a phenomenal athlete too.
Okay.
So he's going to do really good things.
yeah, Mark was a
Just
super
young.
great athlete, so
Yeah.
that's not surprising at all. Mark graduated with my brother Jacob, so I grew up watching Michael and
Yeah.
Mark, and
Yeah.
those were that class was who we idolized as kids, and then when we got, that's who we are. When we were in football, we would watch their state championship game and for film and motivation and stuff
Right.
like
That's
that.
awesome.
Yeah. So, so when so you got here in 2011,
Uh-huh.
you've been coaching since then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've coached football solid since then.
Mm-hmm.
When I left the school and went to work for Freeport,
Mhm.
I quit. I wasn't able to coach basketball and baseball anymore.
Yeah. Too much. Yeah.
Well, I was a terrible baseball coach, so it was perfect. It was perfect timing.
Well,
Was
Thatcher's.
Thatcher your first coaching position, or had you coached in other schools?
I coached.
Or...
So we moved from Central Idaho, McCall, Idaho.
Yeah. Okay.
And I coached in McCall. I coached basketball and football up there.
How did you get to Idaho? Because you were in Pine Top. So tell us your story a little bit about
So-
how you ended up here.
So grew up in Pine Top, went on my mission, came back and played football at EA.
Okay.
And then met my wife, met Dana.
At EA.
Dana Jones out at EA. And then when we finished at EA, we went to BYU. I graduated. Actually worked in the mortgage industry for a long time.
How long? I remember you telling me, but I never really got into a lot of detail with you
It
about
was
that.
probably 7 years.
Really?
We did commercial lending. We did residential lending. We did some equity finance, like private equity
Mhm.
finance.
So Russ, I've done a couple loans for him,
Yeah.
and so I had to be really careful because he actually knew it. I couldn't get.
Yeah.
No, I'm just joking. I
I don't know
know.
what to do, but careful with your no.
Yeah.
You can vouch that I did a great job.
He
Right?
did. He did great. On all of them. He did great.
Perfect.
So, anyways, and then there's a whole bunch of details, but we ended up moving to Idaho.
For a job, like a coaching job, or
No, my wife's family lived in Idaho.
Okay.
And so, excuse me, we ended up and built a spec home up there, and then ended up staying way longer than we originally anticipated. We were going to just move up there, build a house, and then move back to Utah.
Mhm.
I don't know if any of you guys know McCall. Have you ever been there? It's phenomenal. I tell
You
people,
fell in love with it?
yeah, don't ever go there in July because you'll never come back. It's like July, August. It's unbelievable. Anyway, so yeah, and then I've always said, even when I was like on my mission, I always said my dream job was to teach and coach, and it pays really well. So we did that. We decided we were going to do it, and but a lot of different. I don't know if we want to get in it, but a lot of different experiences that proved to me in my mind and my heart that Thatcher, for whatever reason, was where we needed to be, and we had different. I came down and interviewed, and they didn't have any openings
At the school?
At the school.
Okay.
It was just random. I was calling. Like Mel Palmer was a huge he was trying to get us down here.
Mm-hmm.
Love that guy. So he's like, come on down and just interview. So we came down and interviewed. I met Carol McAtee was the principal at that point. She's such a sweetheart. There's nothing available.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I interviewed at Florence and a couple other schools, and those other schools they wanted me to go there. And
so is that what you got your degree in? Was education, or
no? My degree is in economics.
Okay.
And I was kind of in that for a while. Then I got just a secondary certificate to teach.
Gotcha.
And anyway, went back to McCall and worked. And we did some random construction stuff, and then that next spring they called and said they wanted to hire me for the Spanish position. So we moved down here to make no money. It was awesome. But I did it for 6 years. I absolutely loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I loved everything about it. Loved the school, loved Thatcher, loved teaching, loved coaching. Then my kids started getting older and they were eating a lot more. And I found out that I couldn't remain a teacher for much longer as my kids got older. And then that's when I switched over.
Yeah, which was just a couple of years ago, right?
7 years ago.
You switched. You've been at Freeport for 7 years now.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Time flies.
Yeah. And what are you doing at Freeport?
I'm a technical coordinator. I run. I was in Morenci for most of that time. I just transferred to Safford, and so I'm in the Hydromet area, just doing projects.
Okay.
So it's cool.
Awesome.
I love the Safford group. Safford area is great.
Yeah. Awesome.
I was going to ask Dan. So you're now the head coach. Was this your first coaching?
My first head coaching.
Head coaching.
Yeah,
okay.
I've been coaching since 98, 99, somewhere around there.
So how did you end up at Thatcher? What's your... Yeah.
So I had a flood restoration company down in Mesa.
Yeah.
I've been doing that a long time and 24/7, and I'd had enough and
great money, but a lot of
great
stress.
money, but a lot of time, a lot of energy, and didn't see my family much. And my kids were getting older. I'd been coaching the whole time, and I loved coaching. It was what I wanted to do, but again, you can't support a family on it, so you got to do other things.
Right.
We came up for Christmas. It was the Jones. We just moved our parents down from Pine Top. They had gotten,
I did the loan.
they did the loan for that. Yeah. So we had to get our parents down here. So we just moved our parents down, and it was the Jones Christmas. So we all came here, and I was sitting in his living room, and I saw that Morales had stepped down. And a few years before, I had thought about applying in Marana, where my sister was at. And she's like, just come apply, come and try. And so some events happened. I got the interview, but I couldn't do it because we had a death in the family. And so when I saw that one, I just thought to myself, just give it a try. I'm not a teacher. I didn't really think that I'd have much of a chance, so I threw my name in and came and interviewed, and everything went well. And I got the call, and I thought, my goodness, now I got to sell a house and sell my business and go, make this thing work. So
where were you coaching before Thatcher?
I've coached at Highlands, where I started, so 6A program, Desert Ridge, and then Apache Junction, and then back to Desert Ridge. So, mostly big school stuff.
Yeah. So a little different, probably.
A little different, yeah. So
I'm trying to. So at what? Because so Thatcher had those 3 state championships all in a row.
Mhm.
The first 2 were with Sean Hain, correct? As the head coach. Were you or was it Morales? Okay,
Yep.
And then you came after Morales.
Year after,
Awesome.
yeah.
So
Okay.
Russell started doing defensive coordinating on the second state championship team, was it?
Mhm.
And so that's what I did down in Mesa. And so we watched film together over the phone and talked about things. And so I was very familiar with Thatcher football. And then, I got it.
So Thatcher is pretty notorious for having a very enthusiastic and critical fan base. So when you guys were considering, coming on to be coaches,
Uh-huh.
did you experience any not pushback, but any hey, this is not gonna be an easy position, anything like that? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. So I'll let him answer different because he's the head coach and the head coach experience is drastically different.
Way more
Yeah.
scrutiny.
than everybody
Yeah.
else's, so. And still, barely. There's plenty of scrutiny. We have great loyal fans, but there are those that have their say and they have to be listened to. And
You can decline to answer too if you want. No, seriously.
No, I didn't consider it coming here.
Yeah.
Again, I was at bigger programs, and so I think the closeness of everything, how everybody is related to everybody.
Yeah, you're an outsider,
Here,
right?
yeah, and I've always kind of been that way, which is kind of I got the job the first year in COVID,
Which was
and
hard.
so that was our first year.
Yeah, that would be tough.
Terrible. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
We were just fighting to have a season. We couldn't even practice all together. We had to practice in groups of 10. Couldn't touch a ball. Just the madness that ensued with COVID, right?
Wow.
And so that was very difficult. But one of the biggest problems is everyone was kind of locked away. And so when we got here, it was we didn't talk to anybody.
Right.
And we left all of our friends there. We got here, we knew nobody but Russ.
Right.
And he's a nice guy. And but yeah, we didn't know anybody. And so unfortunately, it's kind of continued like it. Everybody's still kind of quiet. And I'm quiet too. I just kind of stick to myself.
That's a common topic that from people that we've talked to, because we've had both, individuals that grew up here. Me and Davis have grown up here, so we kind of we understand where you're coming from as far as not growing up here, because we've talked to other people, and I like to try to put myself into other people's shoes, and I think that the majority of the time it's just people just don't think as far as no one's trying to leave you out of things.
Right.
It's more of just
they have their family. They have other things.
They have
I totally get it. But I think when COVID hit,
Yeah.
the world kind of stopped a little bit.
Yeah.
There wasn't as many group outings. There wasn't as many activities. There wasn't as many
Yeah.
opportunities to get to know people.
right.
And I think the world's kind of continued like that a little bit.
Yeah, I
So-
can see that too. Absolutely. Both good and bad. For example, my brother Jacob, I mentioned him earlier. He, because of COVID, he started working from home, and has been able to continue working from home. So in that case, it's kind of a good thing. He enjoys that.
Right.
He's kind of able to show I can do my job just as well from here. But yeah, I'm sure he's missing out on a lot of that. That's the social stuff as far as being in an office with someone and with people and getting to talk to people and rub shoulders with all that. So yeah, definitely still dealing with some side effects of COVID.
So anyway, to answer your question, yeah, they're for not being from around here, I hear that sometimes, and you just kind of shrug it off.
Mhm.
I'm a pretty strong-willed person, so I don't let too many things bother me. But I keep going, and I tell the school I'm going in this direction, and you have the option to tell me thanks for your services, and but other than that, that's where we're going right there. So
I think that's important too. I think when you're hired to do a job, I think it's important to stick to your guns, and this is how I feel is the best way to do the job. I'm going to continue. I'm not going to let outside sources, because a lot of times if you allow people on the outside to influence, you're not true to yourself anymore. And then if it's not, you're not fighting for something as strongly as you might have if you were sticking to your beliefs and,
Right.
and your way of doing things.
Well, we had a parent meeting last night, was the kind of the kickoff for everything. And I jokingly said, hey, we hear your suggestions from the stands. Please don't think that we don't know the plays. Like, I've been coaching over 20 years. I know all the plays. I know where to get them. I know where to find them.
Yeah.
Says that if we're not running the plays that you think we should be running, it's probably, there's a problem within the circle that we're really trying to fix. And if you're yelling at us to throw the ball, it's like, yeah, we'd like to,
Right.
We'd like to. We'd love that option, but something's not working.
Right.
So I asked him, I'm a professional. I've been doing this a long time. We're trying.
Yeah.
And I says, and I don't scream back in the stands, well, if you teach your kid to block,
Right.
So I don't make it personal to you, don't make it personal, and we'll all kind of move along.
And honestly, it's a much bigger problem if you're starting to get to the point where you're like, what? Wait, what should we call it?
Yeah.
Okay, this is what they. Yeah.
Right.
So, and everyone's job is easy when you're not actually one doing it.
And then I did tell everybody, if you have all the answers, we have extra whistles. So
There you go.
you're welcome to come and help out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Do you having, been a coach for several years now, do you feel like parents are more vocal or less vocal in the last few years? Because I feel like now, especially with social media, I see so many more videos of parents just going crazy on refs and coaches lately as
I don't think
compared
I've
to...
really seen that here.
No?
Like,
Okay.
Maybe it's just
That's a
because
good thing.
technology
Yeah.
is better.
Yeah. Maybe
But
just
we
my
have
algorithm.
our headsets on, and
Yeah.
we're talking to each other. I don't really hear a ton of things.
Tune it out.
So,
That's
yeah.
probably good.
And it rotates as the
Yeah.
kids graduate.
Right.
You've got different groups, and it kind of rotates. Some are a little more boisterous than others, and
Yeah.
as the call in the offense, same thing. It's like, I have this whole playbook, right? But all of a sudden, there's some, we can't do this because we're not able to do these things. So, this kind of has gone out of the playbook, and
Right.
in certain years, due to certain limitations in athletes or injuries or whatever, all of a sudden my playbook gets way smaller. I would love to call all these other things, but
And the people in the stands don't see that.
yeah, they why don't you do this? Why don't you that?
That play worked great last week. Why aren't you doing it again? That's a different game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember years with Don Conrad. All you're doing is run, and all you do is run up the middle. We would like to do other things, but there are limitations, right? There's limitations. It's not like Don Conrad didn't have that in his book, his playbook,
Mm-hmm.
and we practice other things, but
Yeah.
Due to injuries or due to skill or whatever, there's limitations that you just can't do certain things.
Right. And bottom line, who knows the team better?
Yeah.
The coach. So it's easy to
And
coach from the
honestly,
sideline.
I coach and I play a boring style of football,
Uh-huh.
and so sometimes that gets it's not fun. I was like, but we win, so
Yeah. Yeah.
we don't have the big kickoffs. We do shorts. We punt it out of bounds. We control aspects of the game,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people find that boring, but it's nice.
Yeah.
It's what we do, and it works for us.
Yeah.
So
Just, do you know what your record is off the top of your head? I'm just curious. Since
no.
with Thatcher, not sure.
I have no idea.
More
I
wins than
think we're
losses. Yeah.
over almost 80%.
Yeah, which is
So-
super solid. Thatcher's been solid for a long time. I mean, as long as you've been coaching here, they've always had a solid
and
team.
My first year coaching here was the first year we jumped to 3A,
Which is another
which is
extremely
I don't think people
difficult-
really
yeah.
understand how big of a leap that is.
That's a great
Yeah.
point. And the fact that you've still been as
Yeah.
good as you have is awesome.
So we're not. One of my first years here, people ask, why aren't we winning like we used to? I was like, well, we're not playing Tombstone and some of these smaller schools anymore.
Mhm.
We're playing, ALAs, these monster schools out of the valley. That they're different.
Yeah.
They're different. So
When I was playing, we were 2A. I never played Pima, and I know that's a big rivalry now, but because Pima was I think they were still playing 8-man football when I was in school.
Mm.
But I'm pretty sure I could be wrong about that.
They were.
I just know
Yeah,
we didn't play
they
them.
were.
Okay, I just know we didn't play them.
It
But
was
our
around like 2015 that they jumped to it.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay,
And then-
so our rival was always Safford, which I know that's still. It's probably an even bigger rivalry now. Like I love that they're in the same division now, Thatcher and Safford, because it's there's so much more weight on those games now. There was a lot before. Like I remember, obviously, that was always the game that we had circled on our calendar because one, you knew there's gonna be a ton of fans there, and it's fun playing in front of a lot of people. But the fact that it's the same division now, I think, adds a whole other element to it.
I'll say this though, it was kind of cool beating them when they were a division higher than us.
That's true. Well, and growing up playing football, Safford always, like in middle school, we got whooped every season. Every single game we'd get whipped. And then once we got into high school, like my senior year, we didn't lose to Safford. I can't say in any sport that I played in, like in basketball, baseball, or football, and that was fun. So
That's cool.
we,
They definitely destroyed us in wrestling.
I'm sure, yeah, and that's the thing, yeah.
That was,
They're really
that was the Justin Gaethje years. That's
Oh,
when I
yeah.
wrestled. Yeah, they were good.
So when we pulled into our cul-de-sac when we first moved here, and I went over there and introduced myself to the neighbors. And they're like, "Oh, we know who you are, coach," and said, "Just one bit of advice: don't lose to Safford." That was that. Welcome to the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Don't lose to Safford. So haven't done that yet.
I was going to ask, so have you,
Well,
No,
yeah.
I'm
so
still,
it's been,
I'm
you've
still
been coaching
clean.
for 4 years.
This is my 5th year.
This is your 5th year, and you haven't
4-0
lost to
against
Safford.
Safford.
Awesome.
By the way, I realized coming in, I'm dressed in blue and red. And you got your green pants on.
Hey, you know
Way to
what?
go.
I feel like a traitor.
Yeah.
I've been since 2011 since I got here. Lost to Safford once.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to talk bad about Safford, but as far as sports go, I'm Thatcher all the way. And, so, yeah, great job. Keep it up.
Coach David, who coached with us 2 years ago, is now on their staff, and I love that man. He's a great man. So
On Safford.
yeah, I mean, I love beating him when we beat him. It's still fun. but
Right.
I'm a big fan of his. He's good. He's a good man. So.
Yeah. I don't think I know him.
Yeah, I don't know.
Our office here is split. Me and Davis are from Thatcher, and then the girls are from Safford. So
Gotcha.
we'll
Courtney might, she edits this. She might cut this whole
She's probably
part.
Right, she's just like,
negativity towards
yeah,
Stafford.
click,
She'll be
gone,
like,
yeah.
we're not going to allow this.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, when the schedules came out, because AIA does the schedules, we don't have any say in it. The last 2 years, we didn't get to play Pima.
that is a bummer because
Yeah.
that's been another good rivalry game.
Because they,
Yeah.
they usually play one up and one down. So you're supposed to play one team up and one team upper division and lower division.
guys.
No, you're good.
No, you're fine.
They had them on Morenci because it was a rematch. Then Morenci was up, and then they had them Safford, so we didn't get them. We got sent to Yuma Catholic
Didn't Morenci
Yeah.
get brought up this year?
last year.
That was
Yeah,
last
last
year.
Yeah.
Okay, so was it the year before when they played each other and
Yeah.
Pima won,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
then Morenci got brought up, but Pima stayed down?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he was
What are we
still
talking about? Divisions right now?
Yeah.
Oh, it
Yeah.
was 2A still?
2A still.
Yeah.
And Morenci got put to 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that being a pretty big deal.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Pima will get bumped this next year.
Up to 3A.
Yeah, they're growing. Like
I mean, it's a
crazy.
bummer. I mean, it's just the way the AIA does it. It's just because Pima's been so successful. That's basically what it is.
They're going to have another great year this year.
yeah.
They got a great
They're
team.
Hold on, what are you saying right now? They're going to bump them because they
It's based
pay-
off a record,
Yeah, based on of their past success.
which makes no sense to
It
me.
has nothing to do with enrollment.
What?
I don't agree. I hate how they do that.
Yeah.
And
Well, I mean, we just saw Snowflake. They're not in the top 10 in 4A, you know. Snowflake is a perennial powerhouse. They should be in 3A, you know.
absolutely.
They should be down here. We should be battling them.
You're dealing with a different group of kids every year. So you have a freshman class that's stacked, and so for 4 years they've just been dominating. You know, they've been doing great, and then they're seniors. They play through 2A, whatever it is. They graduate. They all leave, and they bump them up.
You get
And
pushed
now-
up for success. Yeah.
Yeah, like it makes zero sense to me.
Way.
I don't like how they do it at all.
That model, I mean, it could work in the larger markets where you get a constant flow of talent, but in these smaller markets, it doesn't work.
Yeah, I can't stand the AIA. I will publicly say that. When during COVID, I remember.
Let's just see. I don't want to do trouble.
I understand. Yeah, I'll speak my opinion, and you can just You can even no, you can yeah. When I remember during COVID, I think it was during the basketball season. There was just some really questionable things being decided. I remember that some of the smaller schools were kind of starting to talk about breaking it, and I was hoping so much that it would happen, and it never did. But I mean, because isn't the AIA? They're not. How does it work? They're not like. It's just a governing board, right? Like, why do I need them?
Well, I mean, I think we all want that central, the kind of, we all play by the same rules. I'd rather not have 4 or 5 different, governing bodies. I like that, but it would be nice to maybe have a division of them that focused on smaller schools, because it feels like a lot of times we get left out of the decision-making processes. They decide what needs to happen for the Phoenix schools, and then it just kind of falls out to the rest of us, and we're like, well, we're a little different out here,
right?
So it'd be nice because it'd be great to have some of those old rivalries that used to have. They're all gone because now we drive past everybody to Tucson and to Phoenix to play,
and that right there is another reason how much more expensive it is for Thatcher, because you have all these smaller schools that they could be playing, but they're having to travel 3 hours for every game now.
Yeah.
I agree completely. They don't really take into consideration those types of things.
But that just blows my mind, though, the fact that it's not based on enrollment. That how is that justified? I get it. You have a dominant school, but
let them dominate.
Let them dominate,
because eventually they won't anymore.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, that's the thing.
That's the thing.
Is if you're successful, they keep moving you until you're mediocre.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what Snowflake has run into. Not that they're mediocre, I'm not saying that at all, but Snowflake's really good, and then they just keep moving them. They move them up to 4A, and it's just a whole different beast in 4A, and and then instead of dominating like they should, I think that Snowflake's enrollment's similar to Safford's.
Yeah,
it's got to be. Yeah,
but they're a good program.
Their first thing they get put before they go to the title. Because they had a great class come through. And then now, sometimes you just don't have those classes. And now you're kind of at the mercy where you would still be a very competitive 3A school, but when you get bumped to 4A and you don't have the kids, you don't have the kids.
Right.
And that's kind of what the first couple years up here in 3A, it's like, it's a different ballgame. Like, we had to develop corners because nobody in 2A throws the ball very much.
Right.
Everybody in 3A, it's just it's a launch fest. So we had to build corners and safeties and stuff like that, and it just took some time. So
we had a kid in church give a talk the other day about how the corner is the most important position in football.
It's one of the hardest. It's one of the hardest to fill. Absolutely.
Anyway. I
play corner
side.
I actually don't agree at all.
I disagree with that.
I
know nothing about football. I didn't play football. I am just a huge fan of the sport.
Gotcha. Okay.
I played cornerback. I agree. It was a hard position. I would not consider it the most important position. But then again, I was also cornerback in 2A, so I wasn't.
You were very busy.
I was playing more of an additional outside linebacker.
There you go.
I wasn't having to guard a whole lot of people. But I did have 2 interceptions against Safford my senior year.
There you go.
Yeah.
Put that on the jacket.
I'll also be honest, they were both like the last pass of the first half and the last pass of the second half.
You don't have to be honest about that. It's in the record.
It's still in the record book. Yeah. What was I going to ask you? I can't remember.
No, it's for going from 2A to 3A. Like 2A, you'll get less than 10 passes a game, and then 3A we'll get 40.
Yeah.
And it's just so different.
See, I would have enjoyed that because that's the fun thing as a cornerback is playing, defending the pass. So, but definitely different ball game.
And it's not like cover 2, cover 3 anymore. If you do that, your game is far more complex.
So you play mostly man with your corners, or what are you doing?
No, there's
match cover 4, flex, some different stuff. So man, there's there's all kinds of stuff out there.
Pattern reading, depending on how many receivers are on your side, will depend it changes your coverage.
Gotcha. You gotta be smarter.
It's more. It has to be more.
Way more complex.
Just a simple mesh route that's so popular now. If you just stick in cover 3,
where did it go?
It'll kill you. There's no answer for it.
Yeah. See, my job was either cover 1, cover 2, or cover 3.
Those days are long gone.
They changed a bit.
Gotcha.
So who's all on the staff, the coaching staff this year?
So I'm the head coach. What's that?
Don't leave me out.
I know. We got 9, so count for me.
Yeah.
No. So I'm the head coach, and I run the defense. Russell's the offensive coordinator. Then we have Jacob Robbins, Michael Romney, Ethan Estes, Brett Hunt. Cody Taylor is the JV head coach,
Oh,
and he does a great job.
Yeah.
He does a very good job with them. Where am I at?
Billy
Ferris, he runs the running backs and some other stuff for us.
in the lake.
did his son graduate?
What's that?
He's got another one.
He's got another one. So
Yeah.
he's got a senior.
Oh, cool.
Oh no,
Yeah.
Coy was the older one.
Crew.
Crew.
Yeah, he's gonna have a great year.
Yeah.
Coy's in
In Ghana on mission.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
cool.
Crew,
Yeah.
he's loaded. Who else on
The one and the only, Danny Batroff.
there? Oh,
Batroff.
yeah.
Yeah,
The man, I call him Mr. Thatcher. He is Thatcher football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Danny's a good guy.
yeah. Sorry, Danny. Didn't forget you there, bud.
Listen, that's the other thing about this podcast. There's not a whole lot of watchers. don't worry. Yeah.
I know my kids will watch, and I know I stopped at my 4th kid, so I've got 2 more. Brett or Josh and Megan. Love you guys.
That's my fault. I probably interrupted him. Actually, that might have been when he came.
Yeah.
James's fault. Yeah, you guys are. Listen, the youngest child is actually the most important. The youngest 2.
Yeah.
The youngest 2 are the most important. So you won't be forgotten later on in life.
That's right.
I'm the youngest of 6 kids.
Are you?
Yeah, and me and my sister Bethany definitely were more spoiled than, because I mean,
Sure.
it makes sense. My parents were first, getting going in life. They didn't have a lot of money. They had to provide for 6 kids.
Sure. Yeah.
Their pocketbooks started getting bigger the more the kids leave,
Yep.
and so we got to go to on some cool vacations with my parents. And whether it's an economic thing or not, I'm the favorite child. So
There you go.
I just fully believe
Lydia,
that.
no.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I remember with Brock, our oldest. You're a little more strict with your oldest, and
Mm-hmm.
so Brock, if he put his elbows on the table, we get your elbows on the table. And then Lydia, when she's a baby, she's just laying on the table eating. She's so cute.
Yeah, same thing with my family. My siblings have a strict curfew. Very very strict. Literally, my parents said turn the hall light out when you get home, so we know that you're home. They never. I mean, obviously, it was expected. Don't be out till 3 a.m.
Sure.
But I could have come home at 3, and they probably would have never known. But
That's funny.
except for after my mission. After my mission, when I got home, all of a sudden my mom wanted to be super strict. I remember one night.
Interesting.
I remember one night I came home late, and I was out hanging out with friends and stuff, and she was waiting up for me, which she never did. And she's like, "Where have you been?" And I was like, "Mom, I was just in Mexico for 6 months by myself.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
fine. I'm not. Yeah, but I think it's more of making sure I'm making good decisions type of thing. What they're
Yeah.
worried about. But,
I'm usually up till 2, 3 in the morning watching film, so
yeah,
my kids don't have much of a chance
they.
of sneaking in.
Yeah.
So I'm up.
Yeah. Well, my siblings would come and check in and then leave.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So-
That's funny.
Well, we had Lee Patterson. Sorry to change the subject
No, that's
back
fine.
to football, but
Yeah, no,
That's what we're here for.
we had Lee Patterson on, and he's super excited for this season, and he's predicting a pretty successful season. As far as your schedule goes, do you feel like it's a pretty tough schedule, or do you feel like
It's one of the hardest in 3A.
Yeah.
It is.
Last year we were on the underside, so we didn't have a lot of kids coming back. We didn't have a lot of experience, and we played one or two of the toughest schedule in 3A. And every week was just, my goodness. So we started out with Paradise Honors, who ended up in the finals. We had Valley Christian, who was semifinals. We had Yuma Catholic, who was in the finals in 4A. I mean, Round Valley, who was a playoff team. You just go down the list.
Getting beat up.
And you're looking at the list going,
When do we get a break?
do we get a break? Yeah,
Right.
we could be 2-8 after all this, because we're on the bottom side. Everybody had their super teams, and we had just had our super team, and we were kind of on the rebuilding side of things, and so that came out, and I was like, well, that's
Someone doesn't like us.
yeah, someone doesn't like us for sure, because we got put up against every big dog there was. And so this year it's the same schedule, but I feel like we're on the top side of it. Like, we have a lot coming back. We have over 20 seniors,
That's awesome.
which I think last year we had 8.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, just so we have a lot returning. We have a lot more speed. I think, you know, so it feels like people have to be looking at us.
You're ready
this
for
year
it, yeah.
versus last year, just going like, holy, you know,
Do you have a few, you know, some rematch games? You know, some games that you might.
well, I mean, every game is loaded. We have Paradise our first week there again. They're the finalists last year.
Well, you played them twice last year, or just the
That
one
was
time?
Valley. So we lost to them the first game, and so
And it was a pretty close game.
it was.
wasn't
We were tied at 11, almost to the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that's.
And so we were right there. But they pulled ahead in the fourth. They returned a kick and some stuff. So,
Yeah.
But yeah. So this year they graduated a lot of their seniors. So it feels like, you know, we're kind of more poised to take some things. Then we have Chrisman. Chrisman's a huge school in the Valley. This is their first year as seniors. They have 5A enrollment, but they started in 3A, so they'll kind of they should time out.
I need to write some letters.
Yeah, I did, and I think that's why I got the schedule I did.
You didn't do us any favors.
I did not do us any favors.
That's insane.
I have to apologize to the kids all the time. It's like, yeah, that's probably my fault.
Yeah.
That's probably my
That'd
fault.
be good for them.
Well, that's what I struggle with is like the smaller schools, the AIA uses us to rehab the big schools. Like if there's some big schools that are falling on some hard years, put them down. You know, put them down until they're successful. Okay, you know, that's, you know, you make them feel good, but now you're beating up on the little schools.
Yeah.
Or you have like Eastmark,
We don't say
Castile,
Yeah.
Chrisman. You know, these are going to be massive schools, but we're going to start them in 3A. And they always stick them in until they dominate, and they're like, okay, I guess it's time to move them up. What about the years that they shouldn't be there? You know, well, you know, it's just the way it works. That sucks for those seniors that got it stolen from them.
The seniors that had a great team could have won state, you know, whatever,
Yeah.
but because you have a 5A school that happens to be put in there with you this year, it just makes no sense.
I had 4 or 5 years ago, Castile did the same thing. They shouldn't have been in 3A. They dominated.
Everybody by
killed
60
everybody.
points. Yeah, they killed
And then
everybody.
Eastmark, you know, they shouldn't have been in 3A, but they left them in the year too long, and they go in and they win. and the other thing is like anyway, it doesn't matter. But
It matters, but
It does, yeah.
But you know, crying over spilled milk's not going to help. They don't change it. It's kind of how things are going to work. But I think, you know, Chrisman will bounce out next year, and you know, stuff like that.
I
And
bet
so,
they don't.
no, they maybe not, but because they were 0-10 last year because they just had juniors. So now they'll have a full complement. It's a big school, but I don't.
So is this their first year in 3A?
This second year.
This is their second year.
Yeah, the second year in
Gotcha.
existence.
Okay,
So-
gotcha.
They started in 3A.
Gotcha.
So, and then we have Valley Christian, who's always super tough. They beat us by 1 point 2 times last year.
Mm.
So it's a little. And then Brown Valley, you know, always a great game. Tough guys up there. Yuma Catholic, they're I think they're the number 1 team in 4A this year. So that'll be an
See, and
battle.
Yuma Catholic was in 2A when I was in school.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
That when my senior year, we played Yuma Catholic in the playoffs. It was the first or second playoff game. We played in Yuma and beat them, and that was like highlight. I didn't even play football, but
That's
one of the
my junior
highlights of
year.
high school.
Yeah,
was
that was my
playing
junior
Yuma
year.
Catholic in Yuma.
and it was because they had fireworks.
stacked.
They were
Yeah,
stacked. They
they
had
were-
fireworks going. They had a quarterback that could throw. And
we were supposed to lose by 40 points.
we went
It
and
was-
beat them.
Yeah,
It was fun.
yeah.
That's one of my favorite high school sports memories. We scored a touchdown on a flea flicker, which was really cool.
Nice.
Yeah, Chris Aaron was the quarterback. I was the receiver.
Did you catch?
Yeah.
Did you catch it?
You did the hook and ladder, huh?
Don't.
And then I think we lost the next week,
Well, is
unfortunately.
that right?
But yeah, it was an emotional game too, because one of the seniors that had graduated the year before had recently passed away.
Yeah, that's right.
So I think it was that same week, actually. It might have been that week. He might have
It was,
passed away that week, and then we went and won that game. So it was a very emotional game. It was a
Interesting.
really, really cool experience. But anyways, I got off topic. I heard Yuma Catholic. I was like, how we beat them.
Yeah.
But
So then we I think play Sholo, and then we go into region play, and the South is a tough region. You know, Sabina won it last year, and So
Sabino, Push Ridge.
yeah, Sabino Push Ridge.
was good.
So
Safford.
yeah. So I mean, our schedules. It's one of those you look down and you go, whoa. Okay.
Yeah. What's the playoff format? Has that changed? Is it PowerPoint still? Like
It's still PowerPoints, and then it's just 1 through 16.
Yeah.
Play it out.
So it's good to play hard competition because
Yeah.
they continue to win. You get more points,
Yep.
right? Yeah. So PowerPoint. I never even understood
That makes sense to me, but
Yeah.
the division thing is just seriously. I feel like
Well,
I need to
it would
go
be
kick
great.
it in front of.
It would be great to have kind of a rural division where Snowflakes and Wickenburgs and you kind of fought amongst the small towns. I think I would enjoy that because we're all kind of similar, same footing, versus playing a Valley Christian, where they're just different.
And
We kind of had a lot of the same feelings when I was in high school with the private schools because the private schools would just dominate, except for Thatcher. Thatcher was the only team that could compete with these private schools, and we did. We beat them, but it was just kind of bullcrap. And I remember there was a lot of talk about making the private schools have their own division and the public schools have their own division because it was.
That would be cool. Won't ever happen.
No, it won't. Yeah, no.
But honestly, knowing the numbers we have almost 75 kids on the team this year.
Wow.
We field 3 full teams. Almost any school around here doesn't do that.
Yeah.
And so the kids here love football, and that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It's fun to be a part of.
What do you think that can be attributed to? Why isn't Safford as enthusiastic or Pima as enthusiastic?
I don't think Pima has enough kids to be that. I think they're similar. They've got a lot of great tough kids on their team. But I think it's a tradition.
Yeah.
Like you play football at Thatcher, and Thatcher does great and usually runs the Valley, and it's how things work.
Yeah.
So.
I think it's the tradition. I think there's like the generational thing.
Yeah.
I watched my brother play, or I watched my uncle play, or my dad, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of generational stuff that motivates the kids.
Maybe that's why I didn't play football because my dad is from Stafford.
No, I mean, honestly, we have, Michael Ronley, who's a state champion on our staff. Estes, I think he won a title. He's on our staff. Brett Hunt played. He's on our staff. I mean, we've got, these great Thatcher football players that are just, coming to be a part of things, and it's exciting.
Yeah.
It's exciting to be a part of that.
And since like January 1st this year, these kids, especially the senior group, and all of them, but senior groups have been big leaders. They've been in the weight room 5 days a week since January.
Wow.
They've been lifting like crazy.
Good for them.
And so, it's good. And again, that's all intrinsic in them.
Mm-hmm.
We open it for them, and there's kind of an expectation that you should, if you can be there, you should be there.
Mm-hmm.
Some years it's like pulling teeth, but this year they were asking us when we're open in the weight room. So it was awesome.
Yeah. Well, this group's really dedicated. A lot of really good kids.
So you say you play Paradise on Friday? Yeah.
Yep.
So this episode won't air until next week.
Okay.
Who do you play the week?
The week after will be Christmas.
And that's home.
That's down.
That's down there.
That's down there. So has to deal with the heat.
Yeah. Is it a night game?
Yeah.
But which doesn't really make a difference down there.
Right now, yeah.
But help a little bit.
Last year we had we had Valley, and then we had Yuma
And Paradise.
where it was so hot, and because it's warm here, but an extra 10 degrees, and it doesn't cool off there.
Do you do anything? And I know football, you gotta take a week at a time, but because this will air next week, do you plan on doing anything different, like practice wise, to prepare for that heat? More conditioning or anything like that?
Not really.
It was 105 today.
Yes,
That's true.
It's prepared. Yeah. We hydrate a little bit more.
We emphasize hydration.
We try to keep their bodies a little fresher. But yeah, I mean, we don't really do too much to prepare for it.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you.
Sure.
Do you see any difference in like athletic ability or effort in kids who play other sports? Like, how do I want to ask this? What I want to ask is, are the wrestlers the best football players?
Jeez.
We don't have a ton of wrestlers.
No?
Oh,
Backfire.
Sorry, I don't mean to do that to you.
What do you prefer? Do you prefer athletes that are do different sports, or do you like?
Yeah, we don't try to. I mean, it's a small school; they have to play everything. But
Yeah.
The biggest thing we try to impose on all the athletes is stronger, faster.
Yeah.
Be in the weight room, be working out, be doing those things because that's going to propel you. And I think it's hard to convince kids a lot of times. I think Patrick Nicholas is an example of that. And try to get him out of software. He's like kind of hemmed and hawed, and great football player, just kind of hemmed and hawed. And then last year he came out and was in the weight room a little bit more, but when he got his shot on varsity, pretty soon he was only 160 pounds or something like that. And he's trying to play outside line or defensive end, and the team's just looking at him like, just run with the little guy. And so he's just trying to deal with all that. And so this year he just since January he's just committed. He's put on 25 pounds of lean muscle, and he's looking fantastic. And he's just I wish I would have done this before. And I was like, yeah, I do too. So we try to just convince the kids, look, there's nothing wrong with getting powerful and strong and help you in every sport.
Yeah.
And so that's what we try to. But they're all going to play basketball or baseball or wrestle or do different things. And Tristan Brown's playing this year. He's a great wrestler. So yeah, that toughness really comes into play. I'll throw you down. Bone.
They want to be bigger,
Yeah.
stronger, faster. Maybe not bigger, actually.
Yeah.
Wrestlers always want to brag about how in shape they are, and which it's true. I didn't wrestle.
We had a couple kids though that they cut a ton of weight,
Really?
and so we're like, no, you get
don't do
get
that.
back up there
Yeah.
because we need you big. We don't need you as lean as that. So
It's good that you have that they're taking the weight room seriously. I was a stupid kid that didn't ever take the weight room seriously. I mean, I'd go and work out, but I would go, but I wasn't there taking it seriously.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'm fast. I don't need to be super strong. I'm fast. And
if you have a chance,
100%, I'm very great.
come on and look at our kids this year.
Okay.
Like there's something different about them. They
Good.
are like they have all gained lean muscle mass.
That's
They're
awesome.
all just cut and just ready to go. So,
That's awesome.
Yeah, super excited about that.
One thing that's super different in today, with today's world and when I was playing is the technology of I love that I can watch the game on YouTube if I need to. I mean, that would have been so cool when I was going to school. So the kids are lucky to have that. And Thatcher does a good job of they have
boosters do a great
the
job.
boosters does a great job. Who did it? I saw that they were looking for someone to head up the booster club. Has anyone done that yet?
Abby Quintana, she's the president this year.
Okay, I
So-
think I know her.
Yeah,
Veggies.
Mechie's.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, veggies.
Oh,
She's-
Art's wife, right? Mechi's
I think
Art
so.
Quintana. I know Abby Quintana.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a go getter.
She's great.
Yeah, so I'm excited. She's going to be good to work with.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah,
She's
Ty
awesome.
Stewart's our athletic director, new last year.
She's doing great.
She's just a go-getter, and she's been really, trying to solve some of the things over there, and so
Awesome.
it's been good. It's been real good.
Also a Thatcher Sports legend, so she's
Yes.
certainly
Yeah.
going to want
Yes.
the best for athletes. That's good.
That's what I love about Thatcher too.
Yeah.
You have because her dad obviously Paul Nelson, and he's a Thatcher legend. They named the middle school gym after him. I mean,
Yeah.
I love the generational aspect of Thatcher,
Right.
which I think it's a really cool place to. We've been very Thatcher specific. We usually try to talk about the whole Gila Valley, but it makes sense. We got Thatcher coaches here. We can talk about Thatcher. We still love.
I
Thatcher. We still
was
love
surprised, because we moved here from out of town, that there was a more interconnectedness between the cities.
that there
I was
was or
surprised that there was not.
was not. Yeah,
I was surprised there was not.
yeah. They're rivals. I mean,
They stick to their own. That's for sure.
I didn't hang out with anyone from Safford or Pima when I was, and not that I just didn't. We had our clique, and I remember every now and then we'd go to someone's house, and there'd be some Safford guys there that.
What about after you graduated?
Yeah, I mean, I don't hang out with anyone now, but yeah, I have a lot of really good friends that are from Safford that graduated from Safford at the same time as me. That probably I'm closer to them now than a lot of people that I graduated with.
Yeah.
So I think it's just the when you're in it, just the high school rivalry. Yeah, and
We noticed that in the White Mountains. You know, we hated, like we were Blue Ridge. You did not associate with Showa.
Yeah.
Like screw them. And then we graduated and we moved down to like MCC or whatever, and all of a sudden we're all best friends.
yeah.
It was pretty funny because you'd get down there and you'd start playing sports, and you're like, all right, well, we're mountain boys, and we don't like the city boys.
Yeah.
And so we're like, we'll bury the hatchet. We're going to be cool with each other.
Yeah.
So we got to fight these city boys.
Yeah.
Do you notice that with your student, with your athletes? I've always wondered if that's changed at all because social media is so much different now than it was when I was in school. So I feel like I didn't even know who the Safford kids were. I barely knew their names. You know what I mean? But now I can imagine that they're a little bit more integrated with each other because of social media. I thought I could be wrong. And do you notice any of that? Do they hang out?
As far as like my kids and what I'm aware of, no, they don't. You know, sometimes on like certain occasions there'll be big parties that they'll all go to. But like on the regular basis, they're still pretty.
Yeah.
I think they know more about each other because they see each other's feeds and stuff like that. Well, I mean, it's a lot of pressure to try to keep our kids like, look, stay off. Don't post things, don't say things. Just when you get called out by the people, just let it go. Just work your game, and so it's that's something I'm glad we never had to deal with when we were growing up.
Yeah,
I can't imagine.
Yeah, we would just fight.
I can't imagine the dumb things that I would have done if I had that opportunity. So.
Me too. Me too. Well, cool. I don't know if you guys have anything that you wanted to share or anything, but I feel like we've our time is well spent. I'm sure you want to get home to your families and stuff. But is there anything that you want to talk about or plug or anything?
Oh, nothing really. I mean, just really thankful to the Booster Club. They do a great job over there with our auction, and people come and take care of us. We just had that just recently.
The community as a whole.
The community as a whole, they really take care of.
We donated a couple of things. Nothing super great.
We
donated a couple things.
Have you been to the auction?
Yeah, I went a couple. I went a couple years ago. I haven't made it the last 2 years. I've just had other things going on. But
and be there. So.
We'll be but we always donate. Parker Morris is my nephew. Okay. Yeah. We always donate, but I haven't been able to attend the last couple of years.
It's a good time, and so I'm really grateful for that. And just come out and support these boys. They've really, really worked hard, and I think you're going to see some pretty exciting things this year from them. So
that's awesome.
That's the big thing.
We are definitely spoiled here in the Gila Valley because Pima's going to be great, and they're great at a lot of so many different sports. I think that we're going to be great. Safford's good at so many different things, and Morency's good. I mean, we're definitely spoiled here with great programs and great things, and it's cool. It's cool to see, and I'm sure that when you talk to like Lee Patterson, he's like,
we hit that specifically. I think he said that he went back and looked, and it's been I can't remember the number, but a crazy amount of years that someone in the Gila Valley didn't win a title at some sport. Like the last 70 years or something.
I think it was longer
than that. Yeah, like someone in the Gila. So I get exactly what you're saying.
It really is amazing.
And he does a great job promoting our kids and getting our stuff out there. So
he's so good.
Yeah, he's really good at that.
He's awesome. Yeah, he's got a wealth of knowledge too.
He knows every kid every year. That's amazing.
Yeah, on every team. Like you know what also shocks me is he'll like every now and then post on Facebook like this person from this he just did one recently.
Decade.
Or something.
Just signed with the Carolina Panthers. He just did that. I can't remember what the guy's name was, but like, how are you like? What are you following? Like, how is that? I mean,
he's so invested.
He is awesome.
And to listen to him call a game.
He says
great. He is so good.
Yeah.
So that's a huge treat to have somebody like that does so well.
I don't want to say anything bad about it. Because I was talking about the YouTube, and it's great. I wish, just because that's Lee's profession, I wish there's a way that they could join those two things together.
Yeah.
Because they have announcers calling the game on YouTube that's separate from Lee.
Sure.
Yeah.
They do great, but Lee's been doing this for a long time. And I love listening to Lee. I wish I guess I could just it's like read the TV and listen to Lee. Yeah.
People do.
I think his sponsors and our boosters are a little different.
Yeah, which makes
That's-
sense.
That's really the
That
only
makes
reason it
sense.
happens.
That's a very good point, and I feel really bad saying that because they don't. It's not that the other people are doing a bad job; they do a great job. It's just Lee.
Well,
He has
so-
that
it's
voice.
so-
He just
he
has
is
that. He has
He
a.
paints the picture so well.
Yeah,
So
he's awesome. There's more of a compliment to Lee
Yes.
than a
Yes.
shot at the other people.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
Definitely need them though, because Lee can't do every single Thatcher game.
that's.
But I tell you, is it Scotty Howard?
Scott.
Scott.
Howard?
Yeah.
His excitement on that microphone is contagious.
He's the biggest Thatcher
It is awesome.
ever.
It is awesome just, because we'll come home from the game and I'll throw it on while I'm preparing to get stuff uploaded
Yeah.
and prepared. And just to hear him be so excited about things, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I enjoyed
I
that.
honestly feel guilty for that. I even said that. But
No, I think he'll understand.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Scott. You're awesome.
Yeah.
Love you, man.
Just his excitement for Thatcher football is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
Awesome. Well, cool. Thanks for coming on, guys. I know that you're busy and appreciate you staying late and working late tonight.
you betcha.
Apologize for being late.
That's it.
Sincerely.
We're excited to watch the team this year.
So this comes out to,
Yeah, so usually Wednesday the following week.
Okay.
Yep. So we'll probably post it next
so
Wednesday.
we'll know by then if we are who we think we are.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll see.
So good luck this Friday.
Appreciate it.
Friday at home, right?
Friday at home.
Right home.
And then next week.
New
you said is
uniforms.
away.
School got new uniforms.
Oh,
this year.
Really?
That's
So-
exciting.
Yep.
Did the seniors try to talk you guys into doing like a photo shoot or anything?
Not yet.
Is
But we have hired
Carter.
Yeah, first name.
Steve.
There you go. Sorry.
No, that's,
Steve Carter. He's going to follow us to every game.
that's awesome.
Take pictures, upload them, so there'll be
Yeah.
a lot of
Oh,
great
that's
photos.
cool.
out.
He went to camp with us. He did the
Camp with us,
auction. He's got it'll be an invaluable thing for these kids to be able to.
He's a great photographer too.
Oh,
yeah.
he's
so,
so good.
absolutely.
Catches those great moments. So there's gonna be great pictures.
Does he like travel with you guys too?
Yep, he's coming to
Oh,
every
that's
game.
cool.
So
Does he have a boy playing or anything, or is he just
no,
Okay.
the seniors, that's something that they really wanted,
okay?
and so we went to them and asked them
That's
what it would take,
Cool.
and it was sign on the dotted line, and he's
That's
our
cool.
photographer this year. So.
That's super cool, and that's
Yeah.
cool that the school did that for him
Yeah.
too. That's super cool.
So yeah, new uniforms and the booster club, getting us some great stuff. We just got a new end zone camera that we can record and get faster things. And so
That I don't know why this just made me think of that. I'm curious what your thoughts are. Sometimes people think that it's a bad thing that Thatcher doesn't have their own field that they play on EA. I think it's a great thing. What are your thoughts on it? Would you prefer to have your own field?
I'm going to go ahead and stay quiet.
Okay. Sorry, is that yeah? And we can,
No, I mean,
Turn the cameras off.
we can also edit that part out if you would like. But it's more of just a
it would be nice to have those facilities that you could call your own.
Yeah.
And just where it's your field, you don't have to ask permission to do things.
yeah.
It
Says
would-
your name in the end.
yeah, says your name. You got the T on the field.
Yeah.
They
That's a
gotta
great point.
They gotta walk past your 9 titles that we have at the school. They got to see the tradition. Those kind of things would be nice.
All right, you convinced me.
Yeah, those kinds of I mean,
I've never thought about it.
Yeah.
EA is nice, but it's their field, and it's
That's a great point.
And it would be nice to I mean, Thatcher's a premier program, and it would be nice to welcome people and say, welcome to our place.
Yep, I agree. I agree with everything you said. Because my thought was, it's a really nice field. Why not use it? But that's all a very, very valid points. And your last point specifically, Thatcher's such a great program. They should be able to have their own field that they call their own.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, fun.
Your own field house. I mean, when you welcome someone to your field, it should be somewhat intimidating. I think they should have to see your stuff and go like, my goodness.
Playing at EA is almost a neutral game.
Kind of a little bit, and we don't have locker rooms there, so we're up on the hill, and that's kind of cool too. I mean, there's some lore and some neatness to that, but I just think imagine a bus pulling up to a Thatcher football field and having to walk through our trophies, and
I
you
agree.
get to see all the lore on the wall and the colors and the this and the that, and I think that would be pretty awesome.
You sold me.
I don't think I'll see it in my coaching career here, but
Yeah,
I think that would be something that would be pretty amazing.
I agree completely.
Cool.
And and honestly, if you're not okay sharing that,
No, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
I think that's a very valid point and an
Yeah.
okay opinion to have. So, okay.
But it's just, it takes a lot of, running to get it done. Because, again, tradition. We've always played a DA.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where my point of view is
Yeah.
coming from. And But I definitely see that side of things.
Yeah, and I don't think that his opinion is like detrimental to like Thatcher.
Right. It's
Yeah.
just,
I
agree.
mean,
Nobody's going to take offense.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think so. I don't think it was intended to
No,
give an offense. So
I have a mind's eye of what it could be.
Yeah.
Having someone pull up your school.
Yeah.
And, I have running out of your own field house and having those kind of things on display, having your own press box. And I have my mind's eye of what it could be. And that's kind of what
And there was, growing up, playing for Blue Ridge, running out. There were some things that were traditional to game night on our field, and them having to go walk past all of our all American, all state kids in there, and then all of here's all our stuff, and you go out and on the wall by the bleachers, there's the list of all of our. Seems like uncountable conference championships and titles. There's 15 of them.
and they just the eyes of just coming in and having to see that.
Yeah,
It's fun.
imagine the last year of that run, seeing, hey, whatever year it was, 99, 90, or.
And I think even the alumni, when they come home and be like, that was my year.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Absolutely.
if it happens, cool.
Maybe one
if
day.
it doesn't,
Yeah.
it is what it is. EA's, it's not like that's a bad alternative.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. If it ever came to a vote, though, you just won my vote.
All right, there's one down. We're on our way.
Unfortunately, my vote means absolutely nothing. So, well, cool.
But I think it's been shared that they put in for a grant.
Yeah, I saw that's on Facebook.
Yep, to try
that's
to
on Facebook.
get something from, I think it was T-Mobile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
lights.
Some lights from T-Mobile.
So go find
Things like
that. And do
I mean,
it.
because
Yeah.
we were at practice from 4 to 6 a.m. It was warm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be nice to have the option to
Right.
practice a little bit later,
Nice.
get out of the heat. So
And also, it becomes an issue with, and I think it was shared on there or something. It's an issue with referees.
Mhm.
Because if we're starting, some of the soccer games you have to start at noon or whatever. And the football games are at 4. It's hard to get officials that work to get there. So if we were able to start games at 6 or whatever, that would be beneficial just to have opportunity to get more referees.
What is that AT&T grant? Do you know more about it? Is it like a competition? Like we're trying to win?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's just a marketing.
Yeah.
we have to share.
The more people that share it, the better
So-
chance that AT&T just kind of selects who they decide to go with. Okay. So go
Go find it, share it.
Yeah, there's a plug right there. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So that'd be great to use that towards those goals. Things like that.
That's cool.
But other than that, I mean, Thatcher football's in a great place. They got their kids are fantastic. They're looking good. Booster Club's doing great. Everything's kind of on the up. It's doing fantastic. So
Awesome. We'll keep doing what you guys are doing. I know that it's been successful. So
appreciate it.
we're lucky to have you guys. Yeah. And welcome to the Gila Valley 4
Thank
years
you.
ago.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we're excited to have you.
And I know people see me screaming on Friday nights. I'm actually a fairly nice human being.
Listen, you want that in a coach.
Yeah.
So it's funny because my brother-in-law's Eric Caller.
Okay.
Do you know Eric?
Uh-huh.
He is
I coach track as well.
he is the most reserved person ever. But when he coached 8th grade girls basketball, he's very animated too.
He's got the fire.
He has that in him. He definitely has that fire in him. But yeah, so that's a good point. You're still approachable. You're not going to get yelled at. That's funny. Yeah. Excited to have you guys here. Thanks for coming on the show. The podcast.
Appreciate it.
So awesome.
Like Gucci.